Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living. We're glad that you can join us today, whether you're here in person or online. And I'm going to be reading the thought for the week, and those of us here, you can join me as I get down to the bottom in the bold. You can tell that I got a little lengthy this time because I had to go on to the second page of the program. When I think of our theme for the month, bringing in the harvest, I am reminded that our collective and combined efforts are needed and necessary. Therefore, this week's message is entitled, Many Hearts and Many Hands. Yes, our lives are based on the individual consciousness we develop. Yes, we reap what we sow. Yes, we are always at choice to view and have our own individual perspective. Yet, since there is only one life, the life of God, each and every one of us is divinely connected one to another. As our family moves through the grief of Burke's unexpected physical departure from this earth plane at 39 years old, the number of people who have reached out in sympathy and prayer is truly, truly felt. I don't even want to imagine what our lives would be like without this substance and support. So it is with pretty much everything in life. If we reach out and ask for help, help arrives. Therefore, if you are going through a troubled time, reach out to those close to you for aid and guidance. I'm reminded at one point as I observed how astute and wise Burke was at an early age. I encouraged him to go back to college and pursue a career in counseling, as I thought that he would make a better psychologist than electrician. His response to me was, "Why would I want to sit around all day in an office listening to people's problems?" He was always active in sports and loved being outside. He was right, yet again, because in his chosen field, he rose to the top, becoming a journeyman electrician at 19 and a project manager for Southland Electric, working primarily with Cox Communications for the past several years. As I was in their home watching Adeline, I would hear him on the phone with people, coaching and advising them how to do something, while he was out in the backyard practicing his golf swing. Don't be afraid to go where your heart leads. Follow your inner guidance, knowing if you can be a help or if you need help in any way, God will provide through and to you. Say with me, I realize there is one life, the life of God, and it is my life. And all lives, now and always. I am open to bringing forth my gifts to help others when need, and in turn, gratefully accept help for me as well. Thank you, God, for living through me each and every day. Thank you. So as I wrote in the thought for the week, that as we are bringing in this harvest, to be productive, I believe that it takes utilizing the help of many people. Whatever the project is at hand, there are those who can reach out and help us. We all have different talents. We all have different ways that we look at things, and to have different perspectives come in, I think, is a beneficial thing. It behooves us to work together. It behooves us to think about opening up to others. I am leaving tomorrow morning for the Anton Conference at Unity Village, and it's the first conference we've had now in over a year, well over a year. And I have been on the planning committee for this whole time. We're supposed to have it in 20, now we're having it in 21. And typically, in these conferences, I've been going to them for 20 years, I have always been, one of the highlights of this conference for me is the opening and the closing ceremonies. And as I was on these phone calls to organize the conference, I recognized a few months back that the opening and closing ceremonies had not been addressed, that hadn't been brought up. And so I asked, I said, what's going on with them? You know, who's doing it? And they said, you want to do it? And I thought, oh, okay, let me think about that. And the only thing that came to mind, I asked if I was too hot. Is that better? Okay, thank you. So as they said, well, you want to work on this yourself. And I went into my listening mode of my interior voice, and it said, sure, give it a try, see what can happen. And so I listened as we listened to Deline saying, I'm listening earlier, well, what's coming up for me? And the only thing that came up was I envisioned these two circles at the end of the closing ceremony around the edge of the room. There's usually there are a little over 100 people at these conferences. And I saw these two circles, and one was inside the other one and facing each other. And I just saw the interior circle bowing to the person in front of them and then moving as music played, moving to the next person and bowing. And that's all I got. And so I thought, well, that's not enough. But then I listened again, and I had this little voice that said, call Michelle Whittington. Michelle Whittington had been the minister at Phoenix Religious Science Church. And I have been at workshops with her, and I've been very impressed with the way that she does processes and so forth. And so because of one thing and another, life, was happening, I texted her, I emailed her, whatever I did, and she agreed that, yes, she would help me work on this. And so it wasn't until just a couple weeks ago that we actually connected on the phone and told her that, what do we come up with this opening ceremony? And she said, well, what's the theme of the conference? And so I told her the theme, and I'll tell you what, it was amazing, because I had a piece of paper in front of me, and she just unleashed. That's her new thing that she's into. Unleashing something is her logo now. And I started writing. She's saying all this stuff. And at one point she was kind of apologetic, and she said, oh my gosh, she says, I'm taking over here, I think, but I'm just gonna roll. And I said, I'm writing everything you're saying down. And I said, and you just keep on rolling, girl, because this is good stuff. And so she finished up, and we got it all done, and literally in a half an hour, we had both the opening and closing ceremonies complete, and I had it all written down. So I typed it up, I sent it to her and the committee and to everybody approve of it, and she came back to me, and she said, my notes, and she said, this is great, and I love the namaste bow you added at the end of the closing ceremony. Great grand finale. And I thought, that was the only thing I had come up with. So what is that an example of that I just gave you? Number one, recognizing that these ceremonies for me were important, were valuable. Number two, listening to my inner voice, listening and asking, but listening to what that inner voice is telling me. And the third one is carrying through and making the call, literally phoning her up and writing down the information, physically doing something. It's one thing, I think, that we hear our little voices telling us stuff all the time. But do we heed it? Do we go for it? Do we actually allow ourselves to step forth? And it might be into new territory. It might be into something that we're apprehensive of. But if we ask, many times I know if I go through my head and I'll ask, thinking, I can ask somebody this, and I think, well, they're probably busy, they probably don't have time, or whatever. But all they can say is no. If you ask, put it out there, and they are too busy, then all they can say is no. And you just move on to another direction. Or maybe it was the one thing that they were hoping someone would point them in this new direction. So to me, this is a great example of how in life there are many hands and many hearts that work together to bring forth the harvest, the reaping of what we are sowing. There is one life. That life is God. That life is good. That means we are all connected. I had a friend send me something that he found recently or rediscovered. It's from the Course in Miracles. It reads, "What could you not accept if you but knew everything that happens, all events, past, present, and to come, are gently planned by the one whose only purpose is your good? Perhaps you have misunderstood his plan, for he would never offer pain to you. But your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took." I have been saying, I don't understand, I don't get it, I can't see the blessing as to why Burke left now. But this was helpful. As I look back in my life, other things have happened in my life that devastated me. But in the end, I'm able to just take one step after the other, and I'm able to see, oh, this is a good that came out of that. This is a good that came out of that. And so there is one life, and it is lived on many, many different levels, many different dimensions. Yeah, Burke is no longer here on a physical plane, but that doesn't mean he's not with me. That doesn't mean that I can't reach out and ask for help. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Flight leaves San Diego at 6:40 in the morning on Southwest. And on Southwest, you check in 24 hours ahead of time, Have you guys seen the ads on TV? I think it's Progressive Insurance. Don't turn into your parents. And there are all these ads about, like one I'm thinking of is that this guy is in a classroom with old people that are 40s or 50s or whatever, and they're going to be traveling. How many of you print your boarding passes? And all these hands go up. You see, hands go up here. I've always printed my boarding pass. And yet, part of me thought, I really want to have my boarding pass on my phone. Wouldn't that be cool? I feel a lot of the other people just go zip, 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 here's my phone, here's my boarding pass. And so I had asked Lindsay to help me do it. And she says, well, wait until, Sunday morning before, the 24 hours, and if you need help, I'll help you. And I thought to myself, you know what? I can do this. There's no reason why I cannot do this. And so I started the procedure. I tried it one way, dead end. I tried it another way. Nope, that didn't work. I called Southwest. Now that's probably being my parents. So I called the 800 number. Your estimated wait time is 61 minutes. Push the red button. I'm not going that route. And so, but fortunately, I didn't really specifically ask Burke for help on it, but in the end, I believe he was right over my shoulder, encouraging me to do this stroke or that, or do this, then, and the other thing, because I got it done. I got it on my phone. And Lindsay had told me that if you just take a picture of it, a screenshot, then you'll be able to find it on your phone. It's one thing to have it there, but then when you go up to the gate, where is it, And I thought I took the picture, then I looked at my pictures, and it wasn't there. I went, okay. So I went back, looked at it again and had this little teeny tiny icon that said, add to your iPhone wallet. And I thought, oh, so I pushed the little button. It went on my wallet. It's the only thing in my wallet, so I know I'll be able to find it. And so I was very pleased with myself that I got that done. Was it easy? Yeah, I'd say it was easy. It took a little persistence. It took a little, knowing that it could happen. But I believe that Burke was there to lead me and to guide me and to help me through it. Because there is one eternal life that is living itself right now and now and now in this eternal present. So you take a deep breath and we think about all those challenges that many times we bring ourselves in life, knowing that we are going to be reaping what we are sowing. And so I believe that the challenge is to know that we are not in this alone. Just like I wrote in the thought for the week, I'm so grateful for all of these prayers that make a difference, that go out to the energy around to help calm, to help give peace, to help give knowing that all is well, that this divine power that is living through me, that is living through all of us, knows what it is doing. And so I simply need to trust. I simply need to let go of any angst, of any worry, and live in this moment that is here. In Galatians 6:9, it tells us, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Go inside and listen to your still small voice. Be aware, what is the good that I can do this day? What is the seed that I can plant that is good, that is loving, that is caring, that is open, that is receptive? A couple years ago after my sister passed, I was talking to Michelle at that point, and her husband of 25 years had just passed a little bit before that. And we were talking about death and this transition that we go through, this life goes through. And Michelle's response to me, she said, well, I don't know a lot of things, but what I do know is that life goes on. That life goes on. And it was interesting because at the time, I took it to mean that my life here on this earth plane is going on. And it dawned on me that I believe what she was talking about was that that person's life that is no longer physically with us is going on. It's both ways. Because this life is eternal. It doesn't end. It is always going from glory to glory. So I'm asking you today to recognize the seeds you are planting, to plant those seeds of love, of goodness, of expectation, of health, of helpfulness. Plant seeds of love, plant seeds of thanksgiving, of praise, of goodness, of joy. And when you do, and you reap those beautiful rewards, be grateful. Have an attitude of gratitude towards it, for this life just as it is. So I'm asking you to have a fabulous week doing what you're doing, being love in action. Love you all. Namaste.